Hi, everyone. Welcome in. Excited to have you join us today. Drop in the chat where you're joining from. We always like to see how far we've reached. Welcome, welcome. I think a few of us will be in Vegas in a few months, so I love to see that. I'm going to go ahead and get started just so we have time for everything. But as folks continue to join, we'll have you welcome in. So welcome. If this is your first VMUG event, we're excited you're here. VMUG, or the VMware User Group, is an independent global customer-led organization created to maximize members' use of VMware and partner solutions through knowledge sharing, training, collaboration, and events just like this virtual one. A couple housekeeping FAQs. So we encourage everyone to get connected to a local VMUG community near them. You can do that at my.vmug.com. If you'll please use the Q&A function today, that way panelists will be able to answer all of your questions. And if we aren't able to get to your question, we'll be able to get back in touch with you through that Q&A. And this session is being recorded. The recording will be distributed in a wrap-up email after the webcast, and it's posted on the VMUG YouTube. A couple other virtual events coming up that we want to make sure you know about, and I'll drop the links in the chat once I'm done, but we have a Kubernetes Level Up program. This is our session 2 for this program. We are really excited about this. Session 1 went incredibly well, so excited to bring session 2, and this is on Thursday, the 16th. We also have a Rack and Stack program, and this is more about the fundamentals of power and servers and what it takes to run all of this. This is more of hardware focused. Excited to bring this content. It's on the 30th. It'll be a half day on Zoom event, so I'll drop that link in here shortly. But we hope to see you there if you're looking up to how to level up with infrastructure. And then, of course, we love the in-person thing. So VMUG Connect to Minneapolis just wrapped last week, and it was an incredible time having everyone together, Broadcom partners and the community. We'll be in Toronto in a month, Dallas in June, and then Orlando in October. So you'll see a break there where we'll be at Explore with the team, but make sure to scan that QR code if we're coming to a city near you. I've got Jay Thontakudi, a product marketing engineer with Broadcom, and I'm going to kick it over to you, Jay.
Thank you, Erica, and hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us. Let me get this into slide share mode. Can you all see the slides that I'm sharing? I suppose you do. Okay, perfect. Hello, everyone. Before I get started with the topic for today, just wanted you to make a note in your calendar. We have a session coming up on May 5th. To talk about the insights and innovations in VMware Cloud Foundation, where our Chief Product Officer, Paul Turner, will be conducting a live session. He's going to go through what our next planned release of VMware Cloud Foundation is all about, what are the key focus areas as it relates to today's market demands for AI, all the geopolitical threats going on, and the continuing increase in infrastructure spend. A lot of these topics will be addressed as a part of the big picture for what the next release is all about. We'll also share with you live demos, provide you with customer perspective. So make sure that you mark your calendar May 5th again, and also here is a QR code. If you can go and register, I would strongly encourage you to do that. It's definitely going to be very exciting. We are looking forward to the session, and I'm sure you will gain a lot in attending this session. So to get started, today's session, we are going to talk about how VCF platform with Canonical Ubuntu OS helps accelerate and streamline your modern app deployments. My name is Jay Thontakudi. I'm Principal Product Marketing Manager in the VCF division. I've been with VMware for over 6 years. And prior to that, I spent a couple of decades focusing on networking and security. And I have with me a couple of other speakers who are going to be talking to you today. The first one I want to introduce is Sachi Bhatt. Sachi, would you like to take a few minutes to introduce yourself?
Yeah, thanks, Jay. Hi, everyone. I'm Sachi. I'm product manager at Within VCF division. I have been with VMware for over 10 years and excited to be here. Over to you, Aniket.
Thank you, Jay Sachi. Hi, everyone. I'm Aniket Ponkshe. I run our software partnerships at Canonical for the US. Primarily, I manage a relationship with VMware Broadcom. It's a privilege to be with this audience and present with Sachi and Jay.
Thank you, Aniket. So to get started, last year uh, we announced the expansion of the Broadcom Canonical partnership, bringing together VMware Cloud Foundation or VCF, which is the leading private cloud platform, with Ubuntu OS from Canonical, which is the #1 cloud operating system, with the primary objective to help you streamline and accelerate all your workload deployments, whether it is VM-based, containerized, or AI workloads. But before we go into the details of what this partnership entails and what are the benefits you can derive from the integration that we bring to the table, I just want to take a few minutes to do a quick refresh on VCF and then one of the key services of VCF, which is vSphere Kubernetes Service, and also have Aniket provide an introduction to Canonical and the Ubuntu operating system. So to get started, VCF has been a result of over 20 years of innovations here at VMware to deliver a unified private cloud platform where all workloads, whether it is VM-based, containerized, or AI workloads, are deployed side by side with management and operational consistency. Now, VCF delivers the industry standard VM services, Kubernetes service, and private AI services. And all these services are delivered over a virtualized infrastructure, whether it is in the data center on premises, public cloud, whether it is in the sovereign cloud, at the edge, or in telco cloud. Now, with VCF, our primary focus is to address the requirements of two key stakeholders. One is the cloud admin or the VI admins, and the other are the consumers of our infrastructure. And these consumers are your platform engineers, DevOps teams, SREs, and developers. And the responsibility of cloud admins is to deploy and manage the underlying infrastructure that includes compute, storage, and networking, taking advantage of the core VMware technologies, which includes vSphere, vSAN, and NSX. Now, all these technologies are abstracted and integrated into an operational layer that provides fleet management, security, automation, and it enables cloud admins to abstract this infrastructure and offer it as a service to the consumers. Now, when we talk about the consumers, I mentioned they include the platform engineers, SREs, DevOps, and applications teams. They can leverage this infrastructure to deploy and manage all the different workloads they have in their environment. So for you, you can deploy and manage your VM-based workloads, your containerized workloads, and AI workloads without having to worry about capacity constraints and any kind of tenancy management that is needed. All that is abstracted and made available to you as a consumer. Now, doing a quick double click on VCF, this is a high-level architecture diagram that you see for VCF. Now, VCF provides many services. I just mentioned 3 of them in the previous slide. It includes the built-in Kubernetes runtime that is offered through the vSphere Kubernetes Service, or VKS. Now, with CNCF certified Kubernetes, VKS enables you to deploy all modern workloads and take advantage of the latest innovations in open source. Out of the box, we offer a number of upstream compliant services to address your need for authentication, access, networking, security, storage, logging, monitoring, and so on. Now, in addition to these out-of-the-box services that we deliver with VKS, VCF as a platform itself offers a number of out-of-the-box services. I mentioned about private AI service, VM service. We also have network service, storage and data services. We have integration with Argo CD to provide the continuous delivery portion of your CI/CD pipeline. If you're leveraging infrastructure as a service, we have integration with Harbor for registry services, so you can use Harbor for your images and for your manifests. Now, you're not confined to using just Argo CD or Harbor. If you're using, for example, Flux CD as your continuous delivery mechanism, or you're using Artifactory instead of Harbor, our platform with both VKS and VCF fits into your ecosystem of services. Now, all these services I mentioned, which are delivered out of the box, are managed through our lifecycle management services that are all integrated within VCF. We also have multi-cluster management and centralized policy framework. The advantage of using a centralized policy framework is it reduces the burden of compliance management and governance. And among the policies you can manage, you have your role-based access control, networking, security policies, policies for image registries, runtime configuration. We have policies for backup and disaster recovery, and also policies for managing the cluster lifecycle. So the bottom line is many customers are deploying their most critical workloads using VCF given its proven stability, security, scale, and cloud-like operations. Now, what makes VKS, which is a vSphere Kubernetes service, the preferred choice for customers to deploy all their modern workloads? It is the architecture which is used to build our VKS service. So VKS deployment architecture enables you to deploy multiple Kubernetes clusters, virtualized Kubernetes clusters on the underlying physical hardware, while giving you access to GPUs, high performance storage, and advanced networking. We have 6 layers of isolation to provide enhanced security. And one example of a layer of isolation is that VKS enables you to run all your modern workloads inside a VM, giving you a physical layer abstraction or isolation. Now, this architecture with 6 layers of isolation gives you better security and a better way to manage your tenancy requirements. And this becomes very crucial, especially when you're dealing with regulated workloads or workloads in critical environments. And these are major advantages of VKS when you compare it to bare metal deployments, given that we have all these layers of isolation, both for fault and security. Also, with our ability to provide rapid deployment with auto scaling and simplified lifecycle management, you can streamline your deployment of modern workloads. Now, what I'm sharing with you on the left side here are all architectural differentiators or competitive advantages you get in deploying VKS. Now, what I have on the right side are all the advantages of using VKS as your Kubernetes solution. With VKS, we have 24-month support for all minor Kubernetes releases. Now, this gives you the ability to plan and predict your next upgrades. It provides for a stable deployment. And also in situations where you need a bigger time window to test your solution, you have the ability to do so with a 24-month support. And this comes at no extra cost to you. Also within VKS, we support multiple versions of Kubernetes releases. And what this means is you can run applications side by side with different versions of Kubernetes releases. So if one application needs to take advantage of the latest package that is available through our CNCF innovations that are happening, you can do so for one application, but you don't have to upgrade all the other applications in lockstep. Also, with VKS, we have a very strong release cadence where the VKS release comes out within 60 days of CNCF releasing the Kubernetes version in open source. So you have the ability to take advantage of the latest innovations in open source, but at the same time, we give you more time to do your upgrades. And it is not just about doing upgrades. We provide a smooth way for you to perform sequential upgrade as you go from one Kubernetes release to another. So it definitely simplifies your operations when you're able to do a smooth upgrades across all your clusters. Aniket, I want to turn it over to you at this point, given that I've talked about VCF and VKS as a quick introduction. I'm sure you have a few thoughts on this slide too, as you go towards talking about Canonical and Ubuntu.
Sure, Jay. Thank you for that. I think indeed I have a slide talking especially about the left-hand slide of Jay's slide. So looking forward to that. But before we go there, just a brief background on Canonical. Everyone knows Ubuntu usually. Unless you're a developer, you may not have heard of Canonical. We are the most popular operating system on the cloud, most popular with the developers. Canonical is now about 1,400 people, give or take, in about 90 different countries. We are entirely remote. And our mission is actually much larger than just providing Ubuntu, right? It's about kind of taking open source, making it secure, simplifying usage, just like Ubuntu does for all Linux, and making it widely accessible. So that's kind of our DNA, and we've been doing that for 20 plus years now, since the first LTS was released. Jay, if you want to flip.
Sure.
So this is sort of the why do Broadcom and Canonical choose to work together, in kind of the rationale behind why it makes sense. If you go look at some of the most popular, surveys in the open source area, you'll find that almost every enterprise code base contains some open source. Um, Provenance for this open source is quite hard. Like you don't always know, this a particular package comes from person X or company Y. It's really hard to ascertain that. And 75% of the code bases at least contained one vulnerability when it ships. And when you think of an open source project, it's not just the top level that you're looking at. You're actually looking at a large dependency tree under the hood. So each time you're calling a package or instantiating something, you're going to have a dependency tree that sits under that story. And a lot of these don't necessarily get patched right off the bat. If you have a dependency in your project, one particular vulnerability in one particular dependency makes the entire project vulnerable. You need the right set of skills and tools and people to actually go and keep this fixed. And this ends up being a distraction for the team, for your team, who's actually focused on building the application on top, not really fixing a vulnerability in some dependency that you just happen to use. But people do end up spending a lot of time on this, and the average number of days it takes to fix a vulnerability for a project is what we bring to the table is a big, large team of people who have a strong track record of fixing CVEs in less than 1 day. And fixing this needs special tools, right? So we have entire partnerships and entire companies. We just focus on scanning your database and providing you updates on how many CVEs exist in your code base. And you have to be careful when you say you want to go patch something, because patches for a security reason may cause things to regress in terms of performance or sometimes even functionality. It might break APIs for you. So we kind of make it our business to make sure that the world stays stable, secure, and performant. Um, we also kind of have inputs from customers and from other folks who say that, because we use Ubuntu, we prefer to get all our security patches from just that source. Like I don't want to go to 50 different upstreams to get, many different cadences of patching, essentially. And that kind of ties back to our mission that I mentioned on the last slide of securing open source wherever it may come from. Jay, click through. So as a result of all the stuff that I mentioned on the last slide, you'll find this is a survey from OpenLogic as recently as last year, where 56% of the organizations prefer to use Ubuntu as in comparison with other distros. And if you go look at the same survey for 24 and 23, you can see that it's up 10% year on year each of those years. Especially if you look at anything that's cloud native, anything that's AI native, you're going to find that a majority of those start on Ubuntu, and the stats on Docker Hub kind of go to show that. So a lot of the work that we do is recognized by folks such as you who are going and pulling stuff in from various places. Jay, click through. Yeah, so the common reasons we see people saying, why is Ubuntu so popular? The top of the mind reasons are, stability. We always ship with the latest drivers, with the latest latest Linux kernel that is available at that time. Sometimes it may not even be released. It's a candidate for release. It's the ease of use and then cost. So those are the things that come right off the bat. But what people don't often recognize is that it's actually built on something deeper. And this is where it ties to the same principles and foundations that Jay talked about as being core to VCS and VKS. We have teams of people working with each silicon vendor that sits in your hardware stack. We enable kind of making their latest features shine within Ubuntu. You can use the same code base across development, staging, and production environments, which is another unique fact to Ubuntu as opposed to some of the other distros out there. And then if you look at what's the rage today, which is AI and GPUs and so on, we have the most choice of GPU drivers that when it comes to each release of Ubuntu. We've recently announced integrations with the major GPU vendors for their stacks, including CUDA from NVIDIA and ROCm from AMD, and expect more to come in that regard as 2604 launches next week, and we bring some of those things to VCF as well. The second point here is around security. As I mentioned before, and I have a slide on this later on in terms of what our team does and how that complements your security team's work. But we work very closely with Upstream, with Debian, with a bunch of other developer projects. And then we test all of that with each release that we make. So that helps, keep your platform secure. And then the last one is not the least by any means. This is actually a key value, which is that if you have workloads migrating on other platforms, maybe it's a cloud, maybe it's non-VCF substrate, migrating them to running on VCF is almost a zero lift, a very minimal lift at best. And even upgrades to Ubuntu from say 2204 to 2404 or from 2404 to 2604 are very smooth and it's not painful at all. So that Jay click through to. Yeah, so I mentioned our releases. So we've been releasing LTS releases every 2 years, like clockwork, every April. So if it's an even year and it's April, which is this month in 2026, we'll be releasing a new Ubuntu in the next 1 or 2 weeks. We've not missed that for our 20 plus year history. And we continue to support them on the VCF platform at least for 5 years to start off. And on the right, it's a slightly dated chart, but it kind of goes to show you the complexity of managing CVEs across multiple releases. But the CVE is vulnerability and exposure listing from NIST for those of you who are not familiar with that. And that's sort of the database that you go look at to see if your system stays secure. So we've been fixing thousands of these every year across multiple releases for the largest code base for a distro vendor that we know of. Yeah, click through. So this goes back to tying it back to Jay's pillar and around the security part, right? So you'll find lots of security scanning systems which will look at the CVE list and flag something as critical or high or low or medium. We do have our own prioritization. For example, a medium can affect a large portion of our user base, and we may choose to fix it, whereas a critical may not be relevant to the code path that Ubuntu exercises. And we make those choices and we publish them in the Ubuntu security bulletin. So each time a CVE is fixed in Ubuntu, we'll release a security notice. That's based on many different factors that go into that choice. We also partner with a lot of the popular security scanning companies. So if you're using Black Duck or Tenables, Nessus, or Sneak, for example, where we announced a new container partnership recently, you are benefiting by them consuming our security bulletin and kind of aligning with us on whether the system's secure or not. I'll skip through the details, Jay, click through. Yeah. And then this is sort of the last slide, that is the punchline, if you may. I know of many enterprises who maintain forks of distros, whether it's Debian, whether it's something else, and they spend hours and hours on, or days and days at times, on critical CVE patching. But that's probably not the best use of their time. So in terms of what we do, we look to obtain patches from the upstream, from Debian, from other people in the community where we contribute heavily as well. We evaluate that regression risk, apply and backport it to all the relevant Ubuntu releases that are out there. We carry out extensive testing on many substrates, on many servers, desktops, IoT devices as well. And then we publish that as a fix. Now, in terms of why that complements your team, is because it's taking the burden of managing all of this away from your security team. That leaves them free to take those patches, choose if they want to upgrade a release, for example, or in certain cases, you may not. You may need a workaround, or you may want to remove some particular package if you don't want to apply something. So we think about this in many dimensions and many values there. We have a strong reputation in the community. We work very closely with them on getting access to CVEs ahead of when they're published to the public world. So that's how we enable the one-day turnaround time. Is our teams are fixing these things in the background before they are released to the general enterprise world. One other benefit which I'll highlight here at the right top is using Ubuntu helps you control that drift from upstream. So how many of you have worked for companies where they've gone and created their own Frankenstein, if you may? We started off with a particular upstream kernel, and now it's sort of evolved so much that you're
Aniket, we can't hear you. Sorry. Okay, we'll reconnect with Aniket when he gets back. He's towards the very end of his slide presentation on introducing Canonical. So let me use this opportunity to go into the specifics of what our integration with Canonical looks like. So our VCF platform brings optimized Ubuntu OS image. Basically, the objective is to help you streamline and accelerate all your workload deployments on VCF. And what we have available today is as VCF optimized Ubuntu OS image, we are leveraging the latest Ubuntu releases, which is LTS 2204 and 2404 images. And we are making those images available to you through the VCF solution catalog. Obviously, you need to have the active VCF license to be able to use the optimized images. Now, included in the VCF optimized Ubuntu OS image are key packages like operating system packages, infra packages, that you need to successfully deploy and run Ubuntu OS on VCF. And the support starts with VCF 9.0, very specifically with the ESX version 9.0 or higher. The advantage for you is we take away any friction that normally comes up when you're deploying an operating system on a stack, with Broadcom acting as the single point of contact for the OS and infra packages that are included with the VCF optimized images. So you get an unfragmented experience when you're deploying these images, made available through the solution catalog. From a platform engineer's perspective, or a DevOps SRE perspective, we are able to help reduce friction for an operating system that is pretty developer friendly, as Aniket pointed to. But it also helps developers gain trust and confidence in knowing that they are deploying an operating system that is backed by a significant engineering support. So they have trust and confidence with stable deployments in the process. Now, from a cloud admin perspective, we provide 5 years of enterprise-grade support for the unified VCF stack because it now includes Ubuntu OS operating system, with Broadcom as the single point of contact. And obviously, these Ubuntu OS images can be deployed as guest OS for both VM and containerized or container-based workload deployments. Now, going into the benefits, this is just the scope of what we bring with our integration using Ubuntu OS from Canonical, optimized for VCF environments. This is no different from what Canonical provides public cloud providers like AWS, Azure, and others with an operating system that is optimized for the cloud environment. Here we have it optimized for the VCF environment. And if you have a need to add more packages, get enterprise support beyond the 5 years of support we bring to the table, you obviously can do that by leveraging Ubuntu Pro licenses as an upgrade to what you have available with our offering. And before I forget, this optimized Ubuntu OS image is available with your VCF license. So you don't have to pay extra just to get this optimized images. So what are the benefits of VCF platform with the optimized Ubuntu OS? Our objective is to deliver Ubuntu OS, which is the #1 cloud operating system and a top choice for enterprise developers, to all our VCF customers. And it is not just a motivation that is driven purely by the developer's choice, but also there are business benefits for you to leverage this integration. You have a lower TCO, and you're able to accelerate your time to value because we are breaking down barriers. We are taking away the friction to deploying your workloads with Ubuntu OS on the VCF stack. And you can get environmental parity across all the different stages of your lifecycle, software development lifecycle, starting from development, testing, staging to production. We mentioned about the fact that you get stable deployment with enterprise-grade support from Broadcom as the single point of contact. We also help reduce friction and increase deployment velocity, given that it is a developer-friendly operating system. And in addition, we are taking advantage of Canonical's streamlined patch management process that Aniket went into a lot of detail about for critical and high vulnerabilities. So definitely it's a win-win for you as you look at deploying your workloads using Ubuntu OS. I'll ask Sachi to just go over the details on how you can gain access to the VCF optimized Ubuntu OS. Sachi, please go ahead.
Yeah, thanks, Jay. Yeah, so far we looked at the enhancements Jay covered for all the VCF, and also the Ubuntu image and why we should consider this with running those applications on VCF stack. Now the question comes like, where do we get these images? How do we get access to it and things like that? So uh, we are publishing these Ubuntu images on Solutions Catalog. It is available for all VCF entitled customers. So once you access the Solutions Catalog website, you can look for publishers or by content type and look at the images that will be published here. You can download it directly and use those with your VCF stack. Currently, there are two versions of LTS available, 2204 and 2404. The team is delivering the images every other week, which is optimized and validated for the VCF stack. And the new updates, like when we update the publish the new image, it actually has the security updates and some other updates that's required for your applications. So you can download those and have access to those today with VCF Solutions Catalog. With that, I will give it back to you, Jay.
Thank you, Sachi, and thank you everyone for joining us on this call. If you have any further questions, we'll continue to answer them in our Q&A panel. But to stay connected and learn more about VCF and VCF optimized Ubuntu OS, these are the QR codes for you to have access to our website. And do get in touch with us if you have any questions, if you're looking at Ubuntu OS as your solution of choice in order to streamline all your workloads with Ubuntu as the Linux distribution. We are definitely thrilled and happy to help you, both from the VCF side and also from the Canonical side. So unless there are any other questions that are open, this is going to be my last slide.
I'm seeing a question in the chat. I'm not sure if you're able to see that on your end, Jay.
Yeah, so I think it's a question about whether VCF optimized Ubuntu receives Ubuntu Pro licenses. So I mentioned about the optimized Ubuntu OS image, which includes very key packages related to operating system and infra level packages. Now, if you have a need to include or add more packages, you're free to do so from the Canonical website. Now, with our VCF license, you do not get support or enterprise grade support from Broadcom for those packages. But what you have an opportunity to do if you need enterprise grade support is to leverage the Ubuntu Pro license that Canonical makes available. So with the VCF license, you get access to operating system and infra packages. But if you need additional packages that are related to your applications or application specific packages, you can download and use them with our VCF optimized images. But if you want to get enterprise grade support, you need Ubuntu Pro for that. And that you can easily upgrade by purchasing the Pro license, Ubuntu Pro license from Canonical. Hope that answers the question. Anything else, Erica? Are we good? Aniket, I know we lost you in the audio. Is there anything you would like to provide as a final thoughts?
No, I think sorry about that. I think I covered most of my points. Thank you for the questions. Thank you for having me here.
For sure. I think we are good at our end, Erica.
Okay, I put a last call out for questions. So if somebody does have a question, feel free to submit, but I'll go and go through my housekeeping.
Sure. Should I stop sharing?
I think I may have just overwritten it, so I think we might be good. But thank you everyone for joining. We were grateful that you're here. It was great to hear about more technology that's included in VCF and how you can access that with the team. This session was recorded, and so we'll distribute that in an email if you are on the call, and we'll also post it to the VMUG YouTube. You'll also be asked to fill out a survey when you close out of here. Please fill that out. That helps us bring fresh, relevant content like this, like the Kubernetes series, to VMUG, especially from Broadcom. So continue to give us your feedback there. And then if you want to upgrade to Advantage, please use the code community for 10% off. We have a free membership to VMUG that everyone is by just giving us your email and attending things like this. But we also have a paid membership, and this is where you get event discounts like to Explore or VMUG Connect. You get certification discounts and also additional resources that come once you're certified, including personal use licenses for VCF. You also get vDefend and Avi Load Balancer included, and there's also discounts on other courses. So say you need to invest more in learning more about VCF, you can do that through VMUG Advantage. There's a QR code to upgrade. It's also a great way to continue supporting VMUG and for us to help continue providing this content. And that's all I've got. So I'll give one last call for questions, but wanted to just say thanks to everyone for joining today.
Thank you, everyone. I appreciate it. Thanks for your time.
We've got one question on how to get in touch with you, Jay. So I don't know if you want to have an email or if there's a blog, better way to get in touch with you.
It's very simple. My first name, Jay, last name, Thontakudi at broadcom.com. That's an easy way to get in touch with me.
Great. Well, thank you, everyone. We do appreciate it. I'm going to close this out. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.